Johnny Kue.
Hey brother, how was the drive here?
Actually, it wasn't bad, really. I'm glad there was no snow.
You look younger every time I see you.
Oh, you're too kind. You look older every time I see you.
I think so, I'm trying.
How are things going at school?
Busy but good. Busy but great.
Same as usual.
Oh yes, yes. Well, I'm so thankful you're here today to sit down with me today.
Yeah, you bet. Looking forward to this.
Brother Lawrence, we're here to talk about this book, The Miracle of San Miguel School. I can't believe it's been 30 years. I have so many great memories from my time there. What were some of your earliest memories?
You know, when you say 30 years, I still have to, there are times I can't even believe it's been 30 years, you know. It's gone by so quickly. And on the other hand, it's gone by very, very slowly, you know. One of the first memories I have is actually before the school even opened, because I had a year to kind of get things started, you know, meet people, find a building, find a student body, get teachers. A lot of things that I thought would be a lot easier than they actually were. It was quite the challenge, really. I think also of the small number of people that were willing to take a risk. St. Paul's Church, LaSallian volunteers, the first students, their families, the first staff of the school. The pieces of the story from the very beginning are mostly focused on people.
It feels like there are so many pieces that needed to come together to make the Miracle of San Miguel happen in the early beginning. And when I think about that, I recall having such great anxiety on that first day of school, but I could only picture that you had the same sort of anxiety because it was sort of like the first day of school for you as well.
You know, that's true, because I think that we had a staff of 3, right? It was me, and there was Ms. Ka and Ms. Jazwiak. We have to make it appear as though we've got our act together and we're as calm as can be. And I think we probably appeared that way, I'm assuming. Nobody was crying. But yet we were a mess on the inside, really. You know, it's kind of, when I think back on that, I think it was an amazing first day, first week, first month. But it was scary. It really was.
Well, as students, I did not notice anything from,
Good.
I did not notice any fear from all 3 of you. It felt like you guys were seasoned pros when I walked in, you know. Yeah. And I remember that first day. It was, you know, I walked in not knowing who my friends would be. I was very scared about leaving my old school, and I was just worried that I didn't want to get bullied. I think after that first week, it felt like a family, you know.
Yeah, you know, I think one of my big things in education has always been to create an environment that is welcoming, school culture. And I think that with the morning assembly, that was a big part of that. So that very first day of school, we had a morning assembly, and there have been almost no days in the last 30 years where there has not been a morning assembly to begin the day. The neat thing about those early years is, especially the first year, we only had 15 students. So you could be the Miguel Man of the Week 2 or 3 times during the course of the year, you know, which was pretty good.
I can tell you one thing that really helped, and speaking for myself, it wasn't sort of how you guys were as educators, it was how you guys were as nurturers that made it feel so welcoming. We never felt any frustration from the teachers, and it just made it feel like we were being respected, we were being seen. That was a very important part to us. A lot of us at our old schools, it was hard to get the teachers' attention. It was hard to be noticed. There were just so many kids in the classroom. And just being at San Miguel and being so welcomed, it really eased a lot of the fears that many of us had.
I think it wasn't all about rules. It was all about creating an environment where kids are urged to succeed and do well. But if a kid fell, you know, figuratively speaking, we were there to pick them up.
Yeah, there was a great quote you had in the book with Susan Vaughn about you're gonna have to reprimand a student 14 times a day, so you better be ready to compliment him 20 times a day.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's like that, you know.
Yeah, I think that's what makes San Miguel quite a bit different than most schools, at least. I'm not going to say every school, but it's very important.
And a lot of kids who come through San Miguel, they just need to be inspired. You know, because somewhere along the way, they either been told that they're not good enough, or they see teachers, they see their report cards, and they see grades that don't reflect who they really are, you know, so they start to doubt themselves. But once they step foot into San Miguel, it's like, okay, you know, this is who you really are. Show us who you really are.
Yep.
and it allows our kids to do that. Do you ever get a chance to just sit back and just see the whole landscape of what San Miguel has become?
So I always remember people, especially in the early years, saying, you know, like, let's say at the end of year one, Brother Lawrence, did you expect year one was going to be like this? And I think I remember saying, or at least thinking, I wasn't sure we'd get to month one, you know? And then once you get to the end of the first month, and you say, well, I hope we make it to the middle of the year. And so once you get further and further removed from that, sometimes you can take the history of the school for granted, I guess, you know? Especially once you've been around for 30 years and you're going into the future. Well, my hope is that whoever is on the staff and the leadership of the school, the board of directors, are going to stay very much focused on the original mission, which is to work with mostly kids from families that maybe struggle financially and to offer hope to them. You know, you and I were there at the beginning, and then I stayed for 20 years, and now you're in more recent years. So we've kind of got bookends at the very least. You know, what do you have? Do you have any thoughts about directions you see the school moving in the future?
I know a point of emphasis I would like for us to really focus on is the mental health for a lot of our students. When I was at San Miguel, none of that stuff was really in the picture. I want to be able to still provide that mental health support for them so they can be the best versions of themselves, and that can help them succeed and try to reach their goals, because if something is holding them back, it feels like there are weights, there's burdens on them, and to constantly walk with those burdens every day without support is very tough for our guys. So I would really like for us to mentally support a lot of our students going forward, because that's a major issue that a lot of folks are encountering in today's society.
I think it speaks to the whole idea of looking at the present moment and seeing what the needs are, and saying, it's time to do something that speaks to this issue. So let's hope that something happens moving forward, and it always has in the past. Usually great ideas like that come into fruition at some point, and it takes a lot of work and dedication, but hey, that's happened in the last 30 years, so why not the next 10? Mm-hmm. I could see that happening, but it's a great idea. Yeah.
Brother, it's been an amazing 30 years for San Miguel, filled with so many memories that all of us who've attended will never forget. It's been so impactful in our lives. It sort of changed the directions of the course that we were on, and I just can't thank you enough, on behalf of all the graduates from San Miguel for what you were able to start 30 years ago.
Well, thanks, Johnny. Coming from you, that really means a lot. And I tell you, it's a two-way street. You just express your gratefulness for what I did, but my happiest moments in my career, as an educator, have been at San Miguel. From Harrop's first editorial was The Miracle of San Miguel, and I think we use that. In fact, isn't that the title? The Miracle of San Miguel. So it comes up, time and time again, and I think that I think it's true. And like any miracle, it takes a lot of people, and it's been an honor to be a part of that. And I'm thrilled that you and other graduates are giving back and taking it to the next step.